Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
I'm Lita Leapins.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, we are at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. We have been here 7 years out of 8. We missed 1 year. Well, so did everybody.
Everybody did, yeah.
Unfortunately. But we're very excited to be the 44th annual wine festival. Behind us is the Saturday tasting matinee. Very busy. It's been busy the whole time.
It has. Good to see. People are happy to see these events back. And what we're going to do, as we always do, folks, is we have got some wine stuff coming up in this episode, but you'll be seeing a series of wine segments coming up throughout late May into June and even early July, because there's so much great wine. And Lita, what is the theme this year?
The theme is South America, but they also have another focus, which is bubbly. All things bubbly wine. There's over 1,100 wines to taste here, so, well, we won't be able to do that.
No, but it's true that the wines of the world are here in Vancouver, so let's get right to a whole lot of wine talk on Our City Tonight. Well, it wouldn't be an Our City Tonight wine festival segment without the guy beside us right now as we go to the main camera. Familiar face to our show, Harry Hershey joins us. And Harry, it is great to be back yet again this year.
It is great to be back. We had a comeback year in May of last year.
Yeah.
At the end of April 2023, we're coming full on with our theme country. Well, no, we're doing a theme continent.
Yes.
Celebrating
Well done.
Argentina and Chile and wines from Brazil and Uruguay. And in my glass, I even have a wine from Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Very exciting.
And everyone's been living in one bubble. We've decided to put a lot more bubbles in people's life. Champagne, sparkling wine. And so here we are celebrating people getting together. We love tasting wine. We love being with people. And we love it a lot more than Zoom.
Oh, goodness,
how
yes,
do you do wine
yes.
tasting on
And
Zoom?
we love the wine festival more than AI.
Oh, yes. Oh, of course.
This
we
is-
do.
This, connecting with people, smelling wine, tasting the wines of the world, 147 wineries, 17 countries. Really, does
that's
it get any better than this?
Yeah, over
It does
1,000
not.
wines to try. How the heck do you do it? And how many events have you been to, Harry?
I've been to every single event except one, because I sat down and actually had a lunch at one of our most famous events. We've been around since '79, but we've done this event called Dine Italia at
Yeah.
La Terrazza. 22 years, 5 courses, 10 wines, and the Italians are very dear to my heart. They're in full force. There's about 24 Italian wineries here, and I decided I needed to sit with the Italians because I had a major announcement to make at the lunch, so I thought I would hang around a little bit.
And are you going to share that announcement?
Yeah, can we have that?
A little
We-
birdie told us, but let's share that announcement with our viewers.
Please do.
Well, we're so passionate about food and wine, and we decided that we needed to put the spotlight on next year's country, a country that is very passionate about food and wine.
Oh,
Italia!
Drum roll, please.
goodness.
yes, which I have in my glass right now.
wow. Same
So-
here. Yes. Cheers.
To the wine festival.
Done.
Thank you,
To the
Harry.
wine
Cheers.
festival, 44th annual, and now moving into next year, 45th.
And we'll be at the end of February, our usual slot.
Back to you. Good to hear.
The week of February 24th to March 3rd. So, and you will be back here. We'll be back in the West Building with amazing view.
Right.
Very nice.
And I love our annual tradition where we get together and connect with your viewers. And I hope they have a chance to enjoy next year's Wine Festival, our 45th.
45th.
Next year.
And people ask, how did the Wine Festival start? It all started in 1979 with just one winery, Robert Mondavi Winery.
Hey, listen, I know you're a really busy guy, but thanks for taking a few seconds, as you always do, Harry. Thank you, sir.
And congratulations,
Wow.
a huge success.
45th.
Cheers.
Harry
Coming up.
Hershey joining us. We're going to check out some other winemakers here at the Vancouver International Wine Festival.
Well, how lucky for me. I guess I pulled the right straw and I get to talk to Mark from Robert Mondavi Wines and Winery. You are the Director of Education, the ambassador for this winery. I think it's a commonly known winery. You guys have been around a long time. You can give us a little bit of history, but I love the fact that you were the first and only winery that was at the very first Vancouver International Wine Fest. That's good history. How long has Robert Mondavi been around?
Well, Mondavi Winery was founded in Napa Valley in 1966.
Oh.
It was really the beginning of the new era of Napa wines as we know them today. It was Mr. Mondavi's vision that Napa Valley should be making wines in the company of the great wines of the world. So really the first significant major winery to really shift into only world-class wines. And Mr. Mondavi is also famous, of course, for being an ambassador for Napa Valley around the world, which is partly what brought Mondavi to found the Vancouver International Wine Festival in 1979.
That's so exciting.
And we've been here every year since, and we love it.
That's great. No, also, when you say Robert Mondavi, even for non-wine people, it is synonymous with wine. You can't escape that. Now, tell us what you brought us here. You've got so many choices. Why did you bring this one to the table for us today?
We make beautiful wines from multiple varieties in Napa Valley. We love our Sauvignon Blanc, our Chardonnay, our Pinot Noir. But I think Mr. Mondavi's vision that Napa Valley should be regarded as one of the world's great wine regions has really been proven by Cabernet Sauvignon most of all.
Yeah.
And this is our Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. I like to think of it as our ambassador wine for Napa Valley. It's a classic expression of Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. Intense without being heavy, ripe without being overripe, and flavors that I hope will excite your palate, be bright and fresh, evolve across the palate, and we hope every sip will leave you thirsty for another sip, intrigued, and draw you back.
Well said. Well, I'm loving this already, as usual. I've definitely always had this in my home as well. Thank you, Mark, for spending some time with us today at
My
the
pleasure.
Vancouver International Wine Festival, the 44th time that your winery has been here.
Yes. Thank you
Cheers
so much,
to
Lita.
you,
What a
Mark.
pleasure. Cheers.
Well, from Napa to, this is great, Bolivia. Bolivian wine. Francesco Roig joins us from, I gotta get this right, Vino 1750.
That's right.
Harry was here earlier. I asked him what he was drinking. He goes, I'm drinking wine from Bolivia. And he said, you got to get this guy on because, again, I don't know how many of our viewers would know about Bolivian wine, but I've had a taste. It's spectacular. Tell our viewers about where you're from in Bolivia, the winery, and this wonderful wine.
Thank you, Jim, for having me
Oh,
here.
you're welcome.
Yes, I'm Francisco Roig from Vino 1750, as you said. We're in Samaipata, Bolivia. It's a tiny little village at the very frontier of South American viticulture. Very cool climate, wine region. Cool like Vancouver is cool, but
Right.
very high in the mountains.
Talk about that. We've talked to a couple of winemakers during this festival about just the altitude and what that does and how it affects and cultivates the wine.
And that's a very good question, Jim. Actually, Bolivia, if something has to be said about how we make wine, we start producing grapes where almost everybody else stops producing grapes.
Okay.
And that's altitude-wise. So basically, all of our vineyards are above 1,600 meters above sea level.
Right.
That's very high. In our case, we're between 1,750 and 2,430 meters above sea
that's
level.
the name? Okay. Well, hey,
Yes.
let's talk about these wines. We've got three of them here. We're going to go through them. What is this first one here?
So this one here is an Anneau Cabernet Sauvignon from the year 2019.
Right.
And this is looking into a lot for fruit concentration, very high acidity. This is a cool climate Cabernet Sauvignon. And we try to bring elegance with very little human intervention. Let the fruit express itself.
Right.
We're a very small boutique winery. We're small even for Bolivia, which
Oh,
is
really?
small in
Okay,
winemaking.
yeah.
So we really try to concentrate in catching the terroir into the bottle.
What about this second one here?
The second one is a Tanat, and this is our most famous wine. It's a 1750 Tanat. This is the only cool climate, high altitude Tanat in the world that is an oak. There's no oak in this wine. It's all fruit, big structure, more than 14% alcohol, very high acidity, tons of tannins. It's got 5 years already, and it can last easily another 15.
Our last red over here. What do we
And
have?
this one is very special. It's actually the one we brought for the festival here in Vancouver. because I used to make the wine, and I have been now replaced by a female winemaker that she used to make the wines with me. And in 2020, because of the COVID lockdown, I couldn't make it to the vineyard. So she made it all on her own, and she made this beautiful wine. So this is a celebration to women's savviness, intelligence, and capacity to do a better job
Well,
than what we had before.
I will drink to that. I have a female co-host who actually embodies all of that. See what I said there, Lita? She's off camera. Hey, listen, it's been great having you here. Congratulations on this
Thank you so
wine.
much.
And I should ask, can people find your wine here in Canada?
No, they can't. There's no Bolivian wines in Canada so far. So hopefully, we will bring it. This is a first approachment of Bolivian to the Canadian market. And I'm delighted, and I'm telling my fellow Bolivians how wonderful the market it is here, the people, the sophistication in the culinary art and the restaurant scene. So we look forward to that.
I just tried this. Get it here quickly, please.
Thank you. Thank you so
Cheers.
much. Cheers.
There we go. Wine from Bolivia. Well, taking a little break from the wine festival, we've gone from wine to something else. Now, we'll tell you what that is in a second. If you caught our last episode, we introed that episode from out front, Homer Street Cafe, Lita. We couldn't really tell you what we were doing here at the time.
Very secretive.
But now we can. So tell our viewers what we are doing here and what we're about to do inside.
We are going to be going inside Homer Street Cafe, and actually trying a brand new, well, it's new to the market, spirit, Japanese spirit from Toya Brand, and making all kinds of incredible cocktails with this really, really cool, I guess it's a series of liqueurs.
Yeah, and we've got Andrew, their bar manager who was on the show last summer. He's going to help us out with cocktails, but we're going to head inside Homer Street Cafe right now.
I'm here with Shinji Inaba, who is the export manager for Toya Brand. Shinji, Toya Brand has a very, very rich history. Tell our viewers a little bit about this Japanese brand.
Yeah, Toya was established in 1914.
Wow.
Yeah, but as a farmer of grape, we cultivate the grape and produce wine,
Okay.
Japanese wine.
Nice.
Yeah, but our owner, shifted to produce umeshu.
Tell us what that is.
Umeshu.
Yes.
Yeah. So people say plum wine, but it's not true. Umeshu is a ume fruit liqueur.
Ah, okay.
Yes. It is a homemade liqueur for many years, more than 300 years in Japan.
300.
300 years, yes.
Wonderful.
So mother, grandmother produce at home.
Okay, very traditional. Now, one of the things that struck me is how it's made, and it's very natural. Tell our viewers a little bit about that as well.
Yes, so ume fruits, it's a very unique fruits. So it's grown in Japan and sometimes in Asian countries. And we need a rainy season to get the ume fruits. Yes,
Okay.
and it's very sour fruits. So we cannot eat the fresh one. It's too sour.
Okay.
So in history, so we need to produce this kind of the umeshu.
Okay.
So very simple production. So ume fruits and the spirits from sugar cane and only sugar added in the tank. It's a jar of the glass and the aging for 1 year.
Wow. Yeah. I've had a little sneak taste, and I know Jim's going to be tasting a lot of these cocktails with Andrew after. The Toya Brand makes a lot of different things. They're one of the major manufacturers of liqueurs,
Yeah.
yuzu, as well as sparkling wine. But this is your signature brand.
Yes.
The
True.
Toya 23.
23,
What does the
yeah.
23 stand for?
Yeah, 23 is the alcohol degree.
Okay.
Yes, and this is our signature photo. So you see the fruits inside.
That's
Very unique.
cute. Very unique. And also this particular one too, green tea.
Yes.
Delicious.
Yes.
I got to
Thank
taste
you very
that
much.
already
Yeah.
as well.
So Toya is always using natural ingredients. We
Very
don't use any artificial flavors, colorings. Yeah, no. it's very important for the quality of the product.
Yeah, and the consumer likes that as
Yes.
well. So Jim is actually going to try some of the cocktails with Andrew. He's mixing those up for us right now. And thank you so much,
Thank you
Shinji,
very
for
much.
joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Well, he has been on the show before, bar manager from Homer Street Cafe, Andrew McDonald. He's also a good pal of ours. I got to tell you, I've had all the cocktails you make, and you can do anything with cocktails. We've heard about the history of Toya. Now let's talk about what you like doing with their brand and your cocktails.
Sounds good, Jim. So today here I have a stone fruit sour using the Toya Umishu 23, as well as a spritz using the Toya Umishu 23, and then the classic serving of the Toya green tea.
Yeah, let's talk about the one thing I know about you. You have a great diversity with your cocktails. You can take one brand and make a whole bunch of different types of cocktails for everybody. So, what did you add to this?
So one of the great things with the Umishu product is it's a low ABV, super flavorful product. So I wanted to try and translate that brightness into something classic like a whiskey sour.
Okay,
So in
yeah,
this
yeah.
case, I'm just adding a ½ ounce of bourbon to an ounce and a half of Umishu 23. So you still get that great citrusy fruit flavor, but you still have that slight punch of bourbon, not as high alcohol as your classic whiskey sour,
Yeah.
but nice and bright, nice and citrusy, and has that rich Umishu flavor.
I don't know anything about this one, so tell me. This is the only one I haven't sampled. Tell us about this
So
cocktail.
this is sort of like I would almost compare it to as like a Japanese spritz. So it's using that Umishu flavor. It's nice and bright, nice and citrusy and vibrant. Topped out with sparkling wine, a little ice. Great to crush on a patio or a nice summer day. Easy drinking, crushable, easy to make. Just how summer drink should be.
Yeah. And what about this last one here, which I found delightful?
Yeah, so it's the easiest of the three. So it's just this green tea. So it's an Umishu-based product that's steeped with green tea leaves, served on the rocks. So 2 ingredients, super easy and delicious, and low ABV, coming in at 7.5%.
You're on the cutting edge of the cocktail scene. There's not a cocktail, as I mentioned earlier, that you haven't made that I haven't enjoyed. One of the things you've told me is just people's tastes are really getting diversified. They want to sample cocktails, say that from a brand from, say, Japan or other areas. Are you seeing a lot more of that now?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think the post-COVID landscape has sort of changed that. People have, during COVID, were drinking just stuff at home. So now, especially when you can go to a bar and try things from around the world, and especially like these Toya products that are low ABV, so you can have maybe 3 drinks versus 1, like maybe you would have had at home. And just enjoying yourself, savoring, and these products are great for that, just because the flavor is so crisp, so vibrant and bright.
Well, you have introduced us to another great series of cocktails, pal. Thank you for joining us, Andrew McDonald. He is the bar manager here at Homer Street Cafe, and thanks to the folks at Toya. This is great stuff, which I'm now going to sample as soon as we shut the cameras off here. Thanks again, pal.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
This wine moment is brought to you by Ethica Wines. Italian roots, global reach.
Well, it's always great when we can have old friends join us on the show back here at the Vancouver International Wine Festival with a guy that's been on the show a bunch of times. Andrea Vescovi is the, I got to get this title right, Regional Sales Manager, Western Canada at Ithaca Wines. It is great to have you back on the show, sir. I know.
It is. And Ethica Wines has a huge portfolio of wines. I was very, very impressed.
Yes, we have over 20 wineries that we source, and we have a great supplier that imports our wines into Canada. And we're really lucky to have some great estates to work with. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love your website. It's very, very user-friendly, I have to say, for even the regions and that. Learning about wine, learning about the history.
It's a great website just exactly for that. Absolutely.
We want to talk a little bit about you. You've been around wine a long time.
I have. I mean, it's funny. I was talking to a few friends the other day, and 95 was my first wine festival, and I attended every one. I've been in the wine community in Vancouver for many decades. Of course, going back to my Blue Water days and creating wine programs there. I've done okay.
You have. You're a good
And you also brought some spectacular wines here today that Lita and I had the chance to try the other day at the opening of the festival. Let's start, before we get to the wines though, let's start with some history, because we've talked to a lot of wine people where the history is spectacular around these wines.
This estate is incredible. So we're in Piemonte, we're in northern Italy, in Barolo. This winery is in Serralunga. It's almost like opening a window to the past of Italy. It's almost like a history lesson in terms of this winery really comes together with the birth of a nation, which is Italy. Victor Emanuele was the king of Italy, and along with Giuseppe Garibaldi, unified Italy, him and his army. So there's really close relations with that history. He passed away, left this property to his son. Alberto II formed the Mirafiore in 1878. Unfortunately, he passed away at age 43, very tragically. And then in the 30s, phylloxera hit, the Great Depression. The winery was basically sold for 100,000 lira at that time, which was nothing. Yeah. It wasn't really until 2008 when Oscar Ferranetti, who founded Eat Italy, purchased this property along with two others and really brought it back into Piemontese hands, as he says. So the history is really, really...
That is incredible. Barolos in particular are called the king of wine, so people that know wine know that. But
exactly. So that moniker was it's the wine of kings, king of wines, specifically for this reason, Victor Emmanuel. Yes. Who was the king of Italy.
yes, so that makes sense.
Which is no longer,
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about this first wine that you have in front of us.
Yeah, so this is the Barolo 2016. Now, you might have heard in different regions of the world, especially in Bordeaux, where they'll always toot their horn. This is the best vintage in the last 10 years. When we talk about 2016 in Piemonte, it really is an incredible, incredible vintage. This is mostly fruit from our Serralunga property, and it's a great wine. Again, 2016 is a great vintage. You can actually find this locally now.
Oh, fantastic. That's great
And
news.
pairing, what would you pair this with?
Oh, pasta with truffles. I mean,
Straightforward. Nothing
a
else?
lot of people have been telling me that today, and they were just salivating. So it's a fantastic pairing, absolutely.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Jim,
while I'm drinking this, you can talk about the next one.
let's talk about the next one and the
So the next
differences.
wine is more of a single vineyard estate called Lazzarito. This is very, very close to where we are in Serralunga. It's about 14 hectares. We actually own the biggest chunk of land in Lazzarito. And again, when we talk about production, this is very small production. These are really historic wines. The Lazzarito vineyard is a little bit more robust, a little bit more tannins. And in terms of aging, we could put this down for 20 years, no problem.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Okay, well, I'm going to be doing a little sipping as we...
Yeah, absolutely.
You drink while I talk. I first met you, 15, 16 years ago when we were on a media trip to Venice. And I remember asking you back then, what has changed with the wine? What are people looking for? And you gave me a good explanation. Jump ahead to where we are in 2023. What are you hearing from people here? Are people more educated?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think palates are changing. I think, people are seeking more dry wines, more, integrated alcohol. Nebbiolo, which is the varietal in Barolo that's really predominant, has those characteristics. They're a lot drier. The alcohol level seems to be very tame. And I think consumers are looking for that right now.
Talk about what else you've got coming up this year. I know you're traveling a lot with work. Are you always looking to bring more and more, say in this case, Italian wines in?
We are, for sure. And we, again, Ethica Wines has access to some of the best properties. We try to touch every region in Italy, whether it's Piemonte, Toscana, Sicily, and just, sharing Italian wines with Canada, with British Columbia and Alberta. And that's my job. And I've always enjoyed wine, and it's pretty cool when you're introducing these properties to somebody that has never tried a Barolo. Yeah. It's pretty exciting because, it gives us a chance to find out exactly what people like.
And it's wonderful that Ethica Wines, the Canadian arm, I guess, of Select Wines, you have a very good relationship so you can get these wines into Canada fairly
Absolutely.
seamlessly, because a lot of times we see these great wines and it's
Well,
like,
it's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
oh.
No, but you were just a case in point.
Yeah.
We had lunch with you about a month and a half ago, and then you were hightailing it to Italy to just make
That's
the
right.
rounds and talk to
Yeah,
people.
we were in Vino, Italy about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we had a great time, and just meeting some of the principles behind these labels is always exciting. And yeah, I mean, I'm in a pretty good position. It's a good job.
It's a great job, and you do a great job at it, I have to say.
Yeah.
And he's not leaving the table with these wines, by the way. It's hey,
These are good wines.
yeah, no,
Yes.
these are really nice. These can be found liquor store. Where
So the single vineyard wines, we are bringing a little bit because of the wine festival. The Barolo 2016, it is listed in the BCLDB system.
Oh, good. Okay.
Not too much because it has been selling really well, but they are accessible, absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And of course, Ithaca Wine's website, you can find out more details at where.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, every time we've walked over to talk to you at your station, it's been 4 and 5 deep. So you're doing right.
It's been great. It's the wine festival has had a lot of hard times, as many other businesses have in the last couple of years because of COVID. So it's really nice to see Vancouverites coming out and enjoying wine again. It's been a great weekend.
It's
Yeah.
been a great weekend.
Well, thank you for taking some time to come over and talk to us today, pal.
Always have
Andrea,
time for you
good
guys.
friend from Ithaca Wines. Check out their website and check out these great wines. We need another sip here, don't we?
Yay,
Thank you, sir.
Andrea.
Salud.
Closed captioning and other promotional considerations provided by Hamilton High Street Senior Residence, Richmond's newest senior living community.
Well, Lita, we've had a great time at the Wine Fest. We're outside Canada
In the
Place.
wind.
Wind, music, planes taking off.
Lots of
really
people.
think warm weather has finally arrived, I think.
Yes, it sure has. And it was a wonderful, what a great segment. We had a lot of fun filming this.
We did. Every year we sample some great wines. Having that guy, Francisco from Bolivia.
Oh, yeah.
Never had Bolivian
Mark
wines before.
from Robert Mondavi.
Yeah.
And of course, Harry.
And thanks to Andrea, too, from Ithaca Wines. And thanks to the folks from Toya who joined us. We were doing wine and then some other stuff. It's been a jam-packed show.
It has been.
Okay, the wind's blowing. It's messing up my hair, so it's time to wrap up the show. From Canada Place here in downtown Vancouver, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We promise to see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Don't forget to check out past episodes and individual interviews, all on the Our City Tonight YouTube channel. The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.